Hey guys, what's going on? This is George here, and today I'm going to be bringing you 5 handy Adobe Illustrator techniques for beginners. Now please cut me a break, this is my first ever tutorial video, so I'm sorry if I slip up, but that's all to the learning process of making videos for you guys. So we're going to kick it off straight away with some duplication, so by creating a copy of something else. So there's one way you can do this. You could either, I guess, select what you wanted to copy, do a Command C or Control C, and then a Control V, and then it pastes it somewhere else and you get to place it where you want. But there is actually an easier way and much quicker way to do this with a simple keyboard shortcut. Is to highlight the selection that you want to copy, hold down the Alt key until you see this little clone sort of symbol appear, the black and white clone symbol, and then to hold down your left click and drag. If you want to just place it anywhere on your artboard, you can freely do so like this, but if you want to constrain it and keep it in a straight line, sometimes guides like this will appear, but just to make sure, you can hold down the shift key and it won't move. It will be tighter to the constraints of where you want to put it. This not only works with text, you can also do it with images and vectors, like these vectors that I have over here. We can select one, or we can select all of them, and yeah, again, we can do the exact same thing and copy them over to a new location. Adding on to this last little point about duplication, which is really awesome. If you duplicate your selection once, but then you want the same kind of spacing in between the next duplication as this one, you wouldn't copy it again and try and sort of measure it up, like, is that the right, yeah, by my eye it seems like it, but you want to be more precise, right? So there's one way to do that, and that is to get the selection, do as we did before, place it down, and then press Command D or Control D if you're on PC, and it will create the exact same space as you did before. You can do this as many times as you want, and as you can see, you will have the same amount of space in between each of the copied elements. Next up is the useful eyedropper tool, which is located in your little toolbar over here, this one here. Basically what this does is it picks up the color from any color on your palette. For example, if I select the background, you'll see that it will change here. This is the selected color that I have on, and then when I go to make a shape, for example eclipse, it will put it in the color that I just selected with the eyedropper. So that's actually quite a handy tool. Something else which is really useful is if, for example, I wanted to change the color of let's say this white text, and I wanted to change it to, just for example's sake, to red, then I could just go over to here and click it in the palette. But suppose my color wasn't in the palette over here and I couldn't find it anywhere, and the only way that I'd be able to find that exact color would be either to go into my color palette over here and try and find exactly what it is. Like, is it that color? No, it's a little bit darker, I can't find it exactly. What I could do is I could grab the eyedropper tool over here, and then I can just select the color from where the color is exactly. I've put these colors down here as examples, so if I go like that, change it to blue, to yellow, to green, and to that pinkish color. So hard to give it an example, but it is a very useful tool and you should definitely check it out, and you probably have already because you've probably come from Photoshop and you've realized that it is in fact very useful. So anyway, moving on. So next up we're going to talk about text, seeing as it's a big part of design today. So I've got this blue background, a bit different to my other background. This is another good little technique. If you hold down spacebar and drag, you can drag between artboards and around wherever you want to go. It's very, very handy. But yeah, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can use the text tool to create text and manipulate text. So there's two things you can do, two ways that you can create text. You can either create a text box by clicking and dragging, and this can be useful if you want, you've got loads of dummy text that you want to put into a let's say a wedding invite, for example, or whatever you may be making. You need a big paragraph of text, this is the way that you do it, and you can just type away, hi, my name is George. I spelled that wrong, I think. And you can just change the size of it up here, and you can change the color over here just like you normally would. So, and you can change the font as well. Quick way of going through your fonts is to highlight the font at the top here, and then you just use your arrow keys to go through a font until you find one that you like. I like Poets in One. Right, so the other way that you can create text is simply by selecting the type tool and clicking and type in whatever you like, and you can highlight it, and you can change the size and the font type and all the same stuff as before. But yeah, that's basically text. There is one thing you can do with text. Always make sure that you are constraining your text when you increase its size. So by that I mean holding down the shift key, clicking and dragging, because there is no designer ever wants to see text that looks like this. No one ever wants to see that, okay? So there is one more thing that I would like to mention before we end the text tutorial, and that is if you click on your text and you right click on it, click create outlines, this allows you, if you select the direct selection tool at the top here, this allows you to change your text. All of its little points, these little anchor points, can be changed. Now I don't know why you'd want to do this. If you were going for some sort of certain effect, you could do this. The only time I've ever used this, well, I've used it a few times, but one of the main ways that stuck out for me was when I was trying to create this sort of playful children playground sort of text. And what I did was I selected each individual letter and I tilted a few, and I made a few out of place, like that, like looking all, well, not like that, sorry. If you click with the this tool, this mouse, I always forget what it's called, right click it and then do ungroup. That allows you to select one letter and then use your arrow keys to just move it wherever you like. But yeah, this is could come in handy. You know, could come in handy. But yeah, that's text for now. And lastly guys, the last thing that we're going to look into is how to do gradients within Illustrator. It's quite a simple one. Basically you drag the colour, whatever colour it may be, whether it be one up here or one that you already have, click, drag it into the gradient panel, which is on the right side. It should already be there, but if not, you can just check window and then gradient, and you can have up to two as the minimum points in your gradient slider from one colour to another. So for example, you can see that it's going from white to blue and then to black at the moment. Within each of these sliders you can choose the opacity and the location. The location is basically where it is within the rectangle. You can see that changing at the bottom there. But if we change the opacity of the black to like 50%, you will notice that the black will change to sort of a light sort of grey colour, you see, like that. Normally these kind of gradients are sort of going out of fashion now in the design community. Never use them as a background. You will get awful looking text and awful looking vector art. But the one thing that you can do, which does look quite nice, is if you have, for example, we have the blue here. I'm going to duplicate the blue by holding down Alt and dragging, and I'm going to delete this black point, and I'm going to double click on the blue, and I'm just going to change it a little bit, so just by a tiny wince, like so, maybe a little bit more so you can notice that nice effect. There we go. Don't know if you can notice that, but it's quite a nice gradual increase into darkness. What we can also do is change the angle of it. So if you change this to 90, then it will be going from the top down, minus 90 from the bottom up. Let me just brighten this up a little bit. Actually, I just created a new point. If I brighten this up a little bit, you'll be able to notice a bit more of the gradient. Yeah, you can see that more. See, it looks quite nice. It's like the bottom of the ocean, and it's going up towards the sun, the surface. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's my top 5. That's like my 5 handy Adobe Illustrator techniques and tools for beginners. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new that you can carry on into your own designs. And if you gained something from it, then please subscribe to the channel, as I will be bringing out more handy tutorials for anyone in the beginner to intermediate stages of design, and maybe a little bit of code to come too for web designers. Anyway, it's been George here. Thanks for watching, and peace.